Is the practice of our faith limited to only our place of worship? Let us meet today a youth who is giving witness to her faith working as a lawyer in the High Court. Hi Leona, and thank you for joining us on this episode of Saints in Jeans.
Thank you so much, brother. I'm glad to join you.
Okay, let's begin with the first question. Okay, like you topped your college. Okay, you stood first in the commerce section of St. Gonzalo Garcia, and unlike other youth who will opt for things like becoming a doctor or becoming an engineer, you opted to become a lawyer. So, what was the inspiration behind that?
My father was a social worker, so I've always seen him working for others. So, a lavish job and a fat pay scale never attracted me. I always wanted to do something better for the society. I love talking to people, getting to know their problems, and through my profession, I think I'll be able to help them in a better way. So, yes, I'm a hardcore lawyer, a litigation lawyer. Even after being a lawyer, I've been offered jobs in banks, in insurance companies, since I deal with insurance matters. But then again, the same thing. I earn for myself, and that gives me no happiness. So that's the reason I'm in this litigation.
So now, having chosen this profession, I'm sure there might have been instances where your religious beliefs and convictions have been challenged due to the external pressures of your profession. Have there been something like that, and how have you handled all those issues?
Definitely, I think challenges come my way every day, every moment I step in the court, because the courts in India function in different ways. Each and every court has a different style of functioning. But then, if in certain situation, if I'm told to do something which is against my principles, against my morals, then I straight away say or no. Or then it is when the task has been assigned to somebody else. Having said so, I would love to share a experience with you. Now it was peak COVID first wave in 2020, and we had a very challenging matter. In COVID times, the court staff was cut to 50%, and you had to get your matter prioritized for hearing. Now, you know what I mean by getting matters prioritized. So I didn't want to do any of that. So for my papers to reach bailiff, I had to opt for different ways. For a moment, I was even tempted to opt those ways, but I said no. I came home, I spoke to my senior friends who were in the same field, and they said, see, you are a part of the system and you have to do that, else you know the fate of the matter. I was contemplating, I asked God, why have you even made me a lawyer if I had to do these things anyways, when you know that I have a set of principles and morals I can't let go. The next day I went to the court, and as expected, my papers hadn't reached the court post. I came back home and I was just sitting, and in the evening I got a call which said, I'm the bailiff, that is the court post, and your papers have reached. Could you please help me with the address? And I helped him, and we got the notice delivered. And during the peak COVID time, we could secure one old woman and her house from some extra steps or some coercive steps taken. So yes, I think that was the most beautiful experience I had.
And it's actually very touching, like God, we generally imagine, God will work only in the church or if when you're doing something pious, but through your life, you're witnessing God working in your, day-to-day profession, and as you shared with me earlier also, like, there were certain difficulties and challenges which, you experienced in your life. And, I was thinking about it, generally, sufferings and difficulties take people away from God. They begin to question, does God really exist? Why is this happening with me? But in your case, things were very different. So, could you share with us a little bit about your, your personal, faith experience?
So when I was 20, I was diagnosed with a very rare kind of a leg infection on my right leg. Doctors couldn't find out where this was actually leading. It could even result in amputation. It could even losing my life. So my scans were done, the PET scans, the whole body scans were done, and by the grace of God, my reports were normal. The infection hadn't touched the muscles or the bones, and but then the surgery was required. I had a major surgery, and I have almost 35 stitches on my right leg. After the surgery, doctors came to me and they said, Leona, now for at least 6 months, you have to walk with crunches, else you have to be on a complete bed rest. Now, this came in as a shock. And my physio started. I said, fine, if God can give me a whole new life, then I can obviously sacrifice 6 months of my career or my law or my further studies. So the physio started, and by grace of God, within a month, I started walking without any support. Those crunches are still lying upstairs there. I have never used them, and it's all God's grace. After that, we thought that all the trials and tribulations had ended. We have sailed through it, and we are the happiest family. But then God had something else in our store. And one fine day, my father got a feat, and after all the checkups, he was diagnosed with a brain tumor. The next day, we operated him, and again, we thought, we were very, very hopeful that after his surgery, he's recovering so well. And but that very night, he slipped into coma. He was on the ventilator support, and this had happened like literally in a span of 3 days. Everything was sudden. Uh, and after, I think, 4 or 5 days, we lost him. During his burial, I think I was completely shattered. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any support. But even during that time and again, God was kind of telling me, let me take control. The work of your earthly father is done. Let him rest. Now I am your father. I know your desires. I know your wants. I know what you will need and when. And till date, he has been by my side. He has been providing everything. I've been always, I have been blessed with an earthly father, and now a very, very beautiful and loving heavenly father.
Thank you, Leon. That's a very, very touching story. Like how you are still experiencing the presence of God, even when there are so many difficulties that you've been through. And this whole point of giving God the control, that is something which it's very inspiring. I have seen in many instances, like once we finish our education, we start working and all that. We begin to think like to participate in the church means now I will just go for Sunday mass. I will say one two more prayers here and there, and I'll come back. Okay, that is how I generally have seen even myself in my own life, and even other youth, evolving in that way. But in your case, it's been very different. Okay, not only are you a high court lawyer, you are also a member of the Youth United for Christ, that is YU4C. You are also a member of a parish prayer group. You are also a Sunday school teacher. So, what really keeps you motivated to still be an integral part of the church and to continue to contribute?
We say that the children are molded in school, but I would say that I was molded in the Sunday school. Even my teachers, my school teachers didn't know that I exist, while my Sunday school teachers, they have motivated me, taught me to read Marathi, because reading in Marathi is a task for a small child. So they have motivated me, they've groomed me. Even the priests, they've given me so many opportunities to participate in various competitions, giving me speeches to deliver. So I think I am obliged. Whatever I am is because of the church. And to be with the church and to be in the church is very, very important. And secondly, if you speak about motivation, I don't think I need the motivation. I am not here because Jesus needs me. I am here because I need Him. In my profession, in my office, or I think in this world where we live in, It's so much of challenges, it's so much of difficulties that you need a strong backup. And when I say a backup, I see many youth having different resorts to these backups. Some may be in some addictions, some may be addicted towards a friend, uh, mobile, or different kind of other resorts. But I think if you are having a great and a proper backup, a spiritual backup, wherein you know you are at peace, where you know you are happy, and for this kind of a spiritual backup, you just need to totally trust in the Lord, you totally let Him take control, and you just relax. That's the only thing. Whatever time we have, when we give it to the children, or when we give it to the church, or we working with youth, I think the love and even the small children also make you realize so many things. Now, if you tell them join your hands, and if you're not joining it, they will not join. So no, these are small things which they make you realize, and they make you a better person. They make you a better tutor, a better elder. So that you can be an inspiration. So I learn a lot from children.
Yes, yeah, that's actually a very scary thing, no? That when you're telling something to somebody, they look up to you to be doing that. No, like, tell us a little
Yes.
bit more about your experience, working with YU4C, which does a lot of work with youth. How do you interact with them? What are the problems is that they are facing? Can you share a bit more about that?
Yes, definitely. I think dealing with children no is much easier. You tell them kneel down, join your hands, and they'll do it. But then convincing a youth is very difficult thing. So when I deal with youth, I see to it that I'm thoroughly like I'm studying. I read catechism books, or CCC, or we have UCAT. So when these answers are backed up with proper knowledge, then I think it becomes much more easier to be working. And the recent problems of the youth, when they share their fears, their anxieties, especially the youth of my age, they are very skeptical about getting married. How do I know that this person is the one? Because you meet so many people, and how do we decide that this is the one? He'll be proper, he'll be with me, he will not betray me. So there were so many youth coming up, and I just tell them one thing, that I can't be the right person to be asking, but all I can tell you is you ask God. So I told him, you just sit before him and close your eyes, you ask him, and there's a kind of unrest in your heart. If that still continues, you know your answer. But if you feel peaceful inside, and when you know that you're at peace, you yourself will understand that my answer is a yes, and that kind of unrest will go completely. That's the one. So when I see those youth happily married, I just thank the Lord for the beautiful gift and that opportunity to have interacted with them.
Yes, Leona, you made a very important point about how we discern about making decisions, and it's really wonderful you are helping these youth to make these important decisions in their life. I must admit, when I spoke to you first, and we set up this interview, I was very scared, because it was the first time I'm going to talk to a high court lawyer, and I don't know how it is going to be. So I was very scared, but speaking with you and listening to your story and how God has been working with you has been really inspiring. Okay, I'm not so scared anymore. All right, so I feel better. I can talk to a high court lawyer now.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I mean it's right. You mentioned a lot of important things. One thing which stands out is this whole thing of having a spiritual backup, not leaving the faith, and being involved with the church. So thanks a lot for all the contributions that you're making to the church, being an active part of the church. And we pray for you that you may continue in your ministry to touch the lives of people, not only through YU4C, but also in your day-to-day profession as a lawyer. May God continue to bless you and be with you always, Leona.
Brother, thanks a lot. I'm humbled by this opportunity. Thank you so much.